and we're taking public media black.
I hit the loop juice and pulls up in the deuce. He gives me the scoop about the fakes and truths and how lickings out there wanna play. I take another hit of the way and then I blast away. How far, player? Far enough to go off the edge. I push another end off the ledge, so I stumble as I slide to the Chevy. Yeah, my eyes kinda teary and gun kinda heavy. I'm a walking dead man, is what they call me when I'm coming. Got the big S on my chest, so I'm kinda gunning high powered on my way to the west side to check up on some chickens. It's a hell of a drive, so drive on.
Welcome in. Happy Wednesday. You were locked in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. It is the first of the month. Wake up. Get ready. I hope that you are relaxed and have had an amazing day, and now you are in a good space, ready to kick back and enjoy some engaging conversation right here on RSVP. This is the show where we talk all the trending topics and headlines across entertainment, sports, lifestyle, and culture. I, of course, am your host, Jill Munroe. We, as always, have a lot to talk about. It is November 1st. Can you believe how fast the year is going? I mean, I know we always say that, it's so typical, but really, the year is flying by, especially when you're in some place like LA, Southern California, and it's 82 degrees in the daytime, and then in the nighttime it drops down to like 58. It's quite confusing for the system, you know? It's a lot happening. So anyway, let me run down the topics that we are going to get into tonight. Of course, it is Wednesday, so that means that I am not alone. I have a guest contributor every Wednesday night. That's Trent Jackson, Trent the artist. We'll be welcoming him in shortly. But for now, the rundown. So in hour one, we're going to get into Marvel's Jonathan Majors problem. The franchise has built their future around Kang the Conqueror. But naturally, they're a wee bit concerned because he has a domestic violence trial that he will head into later this month. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and also some rumors about why he may have switched agents recently. In hour two, we're going to get into the Dodgers and United Airlines are being sued by a pair of flight attendants for racism. We're going to get into the details of that. You know, charter flights, they're interesting. I don't know, we'll get into the details. I tend to believe them, but I also wonder if it's a little more than just racism. We'll talk about that. In hour three, we spoke about Joe Smith, the former number one NBA draft pick of the 1995 draft. He and his ex-wife had a situation play out on social media. Some thought it was a skit. I don't know if it was or not, but Keisha Chavez has spoken out about her current situation with Joe, what led them to be in this particular predicament. And I'm going to explain why I'm not so certain that it's a skit, although it might be. But what her motivation might have been to record him in that moment. So we're going to get into that. Of course, we're also going to get into a couple of these Halloween costumes. We are coming off of All Hallows Eve, and there were some more little celebrity costumes that we saw across social media. So we're going to talk a bit about that. We have a Nipsey Hussle update regarding his estate and his children. We're going to get into that. And also, listen, there is a lot happening. Kaya, yeah, my neck, my back. She has some beef with Sexy Red, and she read her down. And speaking of female rappers, there's a rapper a former female rapper, I should say, named Nikki D. She was the first woman signed to Def Jam back in 1989. And she has a name for this era of female rap and some thoughts about it. So we're going to get into all of that. But of course, before we do, we have a couple of conversation starters. These are things that, we want to make you aware of, but we may not have time to get into the full story. So first up, the Raiders have fired their head coach, Josh McDaniels, and they have a new head coach, Antonio Pierce. So what is special is now the Raiders head coach is black. Their general manager, Champ Kelly, also black. So Pierce is going to make his NFL head coaching debut on Sunday against his former team, the New York Giants. They are having a fantastic season this year, but, it should be interesting. The Raiders have had a a season. Hey, I guess at least they're not the Cowboys, right? Also, your girl Megan Thee Stallion, she has new music coming out. She has a new single called Cobra. It's going to be dropping in a couple of days. She said that she produced it herself. She said that it is going to express some of the things that she's been through the last couple of years. She's really putting her heart into this. We know that she has been freed of her former label, and this project is all independent, all funded by Megan, all from her creative standpoint, totally. So we're excited to see what Megan comes up with. And lastly, these Halloween costumes, they are so creative. I do want to ask again, are all of you attending Halloween parties, or are we really just doing photo shoots at this point? Is it really even about Halloween? Is it just an excuse to dress up, be cute, and do a photo shoot? I mean, I'm with it. I'm okay with that. However, I just want to know sometimes. So we talked about last night Diddy saying that Warner Brothers sent him a cease and desist after him appearing as the Joker last year and taking over Hollywood. Well, this year he went bigger. He dropped in Hollywood as Batman, a whole production of the vehicle. I'm not sure what version of the Batmobile this is or what this is. It looked like a mini tank rolling down the streets of Hollywood, and did it as only Diddy can. I assume he went to the party that was at the Highlight Room last night. It was well attended by lots of luminaries. And Diddy, he was gonna give you theater. That is for certain. At any rate, we're going to get into these trending topics and headlines on the other side. You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Infusing a sense of fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward. Environmental justice, pollution, and climate. In Los Angeles and across America, people of color are suffering and dying from disproportionate health impacts on a planet that has less than 10 years to prevent irreversible damage. Heat illnesses, respiratory illnesses, water-related illnesses, food system impacts, insect-related diseases, black maternal health, and mental health effects. As the impacts of climate change mount, millions of vulnerable people, our people, are going to bear the brunt of these extreme environmental events, which will likely lead to forced displacement, loss of cultural identity, and other related risks. These realities are as real as rain. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580 for more details about the most progressive multimedia and live events campaign any black media outlet has ever undertaken to combat the climate catastrophe. Experts, events, empowerment. It's all on the way from unapologetically progressive KBLA Talk 1580. We don't black down. We level up.
Level up, 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 level up.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Legal Aid Foundation of Los Angeles is a nonprofit law firm that protects and advances the rights of the most underserved, leveling the playing field and ensuring that everyone can have access to the justice system. Every year, LAFLA provides free, high-quality legal services to more than 100,000 people living in poverty across greater Los Angeles. Their unique combination of neighborhood offices, self-help centers at courthouses, and domestic violence clinics puts Legal Aid Foundation of Los Angeles on the front lines in vulnerable communities and at the forefront of change. LAFLA's expert team of attorneys, paralegals, and support staff works to provide direct representation, offer counsel and advice, provide referrals, and educate the community about their legal rights through workshops and seminars. With locations all over LA, you can access their services or volunteer to help no matter where you live. And if you have an urgent issue, call 213-235-0060. That's 213-235-0060. To get legal help, make a donation, or volunteer, visit lafla.org. lafla.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. And of course, it is Wednesday. So, that means that I am not by myself tonight. I am joined by our guest contributor, Trent Jackson, Trent the artist. Welcome in, Trent Jackson. Happy Wednesday to you.
Happy first of the month.
It is the wake up. I don't know why Bone Thugs are repeating in my mind.
I mean, it's only fair that we do this every first of the month.
Sing Bone Thugs
every time.
Every time.
It's like the thing to do.
I think it's natural.
Yeah.
So we are going to get into these trending topics and headlines because there are a lot. Oh, I didn't finish with the Halloween rundown.
Yeah.
There's just a couple others.
I liked your costume last night.
Thank you very much.
I saw it briefly. I was very tired. I was asleep. But
Cruella.
for the moment that I did see it, for the 5 seconds that I was in, I was like, oh, okay, come on, wig.
Come through, wig. Little bob to it.
Yeah. So
I didn't do the little shake thing because, I didn't secure my wig.
She's into it. I was like, I love it.
I like costumes.
Yeah.
I dress up.
It was fun.
Thank you. So, others in the Halloween spirit, Carucci dressed as Jimmy Butler from his Heat Media Day pic with the bang.
With the bang.
With the bang.
I was just looking at that picture the other day, and I was like, this guy is a troll.
Listen, and it was funny. She did the whole thing. She had the goatee and everything. It's on her Instagram. You could go check it out.
Carucci.
Russell Wilson dressed as Prime, Coach Prime.
I can't.
Cowboy hat and everything. Coach Prime was a popular Halloween costume this year. And Winnie Harlow, she also dressed as Cruella, but I think it was just for a photo shoot. Her Halloween photo shoot.
What did her boyfriend dress up as? Did they do a photo shoot together?
I did not see that. I saw her Cruella costume, and then she also dressed up as Cat Williams. So, again, full goatee, wig,
I love a good wig for Halloween.
Is that my first wig for Halloween? I think so.
My first one was last year.
What were you last year?
Chucky.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. A little bad Chucky doll.
Yeah.
And, as I mentioned, Meg the Stallion, she was a gremlin.
That's funny. You said something about her earlier. Cobra.
She's a Cobra. She's a new single.
So this, in my mind, I was like, oh, so she's going from a horse to a snake. What is that about? There has to be some metaphorical thing going on there.
Possibly.
There has to be.
Possibly. I mean,
So she's going from stampeding on people to just one poisonous
sticking
bite.
them. Yeah, maybe.
Wow.
Okay.
All right.
It could be. So I mentioned that an issue of Nipsey Hussle's estate has been established 4 years after his tragic passing. His son, who he shares with Lauren London Cross, and his daughter Imani, will split his $11 million estate 50-50. Of course, his son Cross, Lauren, who is his mother, and his, they made her officially, when you are a child with an estate, even if it's your parents, you have to officially get it's not conservatorship, but
Guardianship.
There it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So she will be managing that. It broke down to several bank accounts totaling almost $6 million. A Chevy Suburban worth $17,000. 100% membership interest in All Money Inc., which was worth $2.4 million. 100% interest in Marathon Studios. 100% interest in Marathon Touring, which is worth $606,000. 100% Marathon Clothing, $271,000, and his trademark is estimated to be worth around $913,000. So,
Good. I mean, why shouldn't the kids get it?
of course they should. Well, I don't. I think it's just was a legality, and then there are issues with his daughter Amani as far as custody between her mother and Nipsey's family.
Yeah, there was.
So,
Yeah.
not sure where that works has landed with that, but she was attempting to access the funds sooner, and they felt that it wasn't necessarily for the right reasons, and so on and so forth. So I'm not sure where that aspect landed out, but I'm sure that had something to do because usually when someone is contesting things of that nature, it will hold up the entire process. So 4 years later, it is settled, and glad for that.
Yeah.
Okay, so in other news, a couple went Instagram official recently,
You know what? Who? Just
and
this is-
and they said it too in the post, and they also were announcing their new podcast. So
this has
Amy
got to stop.
Amy Roebuck and T.J. Holmes,
See.
formerly of Good Morning America,
No, I have nothing to say about this.
are set to launch a new podcast titled Amy and TJ. And this is after their exit, from ABC News and their relationship became public. The podcast is going to premiere December 5th on the iHeart Podcast Network. So I'm curious who the audience is supposed to be for this. Is it supposed to be former Good Morning America fans? Is it supposed to be people hoping they'll spill the tea about their relationship and behind the scenes at ABC News?
I'll tell you who's going to watch this. Everyone who's absolutely disgusted by this whole thing. They're going to be the only ones tuning in and watch this train wreck happen. And I want people to keep the same energy when this all falls apart. I want them to keep that energy that they had towards it at the beginning to have that same energy at the end. Because this is a train wreck waiting to happen.
You think so?
Come on.
They might have some interesting things to share. It all
Like
depends on
what?
I mean, maybe it's just going to be a pop culture podcast.
It's just, I really wish that people would just keep their relationships private and not talk about them at all. That's what I wish.
Do you? But so that's so interesting that you say that
Why?
when we discuss how communication is key, and isn't
But you don't have to tell
your
everybody.
entire-
Your relationship is between you and the person.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just saying,
We had a
balance.
We had a little conversation earlier today about relationships off completely before the show started. And I said if people kept their relationships private, they would last longer. And I even used myself as an example. People are still talking. They don't even know what the status of my relationship is because I stirred the pot. And they don't know. You know what I'm saying? And you got to keep them guessing. You keep them out of your business.
I mean, I agree with that, but I also think, sometimes people connect and share and bond over their stories.
Sure.
I just think
But you don't have to give up everything.
I agree with that as well. It's a choice, all of it.
Yeah.
To tap in or not. I'm just curious as to what they're going to talk about and if they are
Adultery.
going to address the elephant in the room.
They have to.
Yeah, in some form or fashion. We'll see. So listen, Jonathan Majors, we know he was on the precipice of ascent.
He still is.
He still is,
Mhm.
okay. But an incident happened last March, and we are waiting for it to go to trial with Jonathan and his now ex-girlfriend, where she alleged that he attacked her, and he is alleging that she attacked him.
They were fighting. Allegedly. Based on everything that came out, buttons pulled and scratches and they were scrapping. Mm-hmm. Pow pow. Get off me, get back. No, I'm not getting off you, get back. scratch. Mm-hmm.
So
I can just picture the whole thing in the back of a cab, heading up Avenue of the Americas.
So that trial will be starting later this month. But meantime, Jonathan was coming off of his Creed 3 appearance, and he was in an interesting place with the Marvel franchise, which we know is huge,
Mm-hmm.
where he was being set up to be, I guess maybe it's phase 5 of this. I lose track. I like Marvel movies, but not to that degree. But they've come in waves and phases, and we know that for about 10 years straight, everything that they put out went #1, insane box office numbers. But now, they were shifting the direction of the franchise and also trying to fill content for Disney Plus. So they're putting out a lot of shows and a lot of movies. They had some characters, some favorites from the franchise, namely Iron Man, Black Widow, and I feel as though there's Captain America, all kind of deciding to move on from the franchise, right? So now the problem is that they're facing is not only are the films not necessarily performing as well as, well, the films and the TV shows, just probably a case of burnout at this point, too much content.
Yes.
And with so much content, all of their storylines are interconnected. They take a really far out approach to bring things forward, to connect the storylines. And so with all of these shows happening across all of these different areas and movies being developed, got very complicated, right? And some of the quality suffered. Fans have not been happy with some of the releases. But Jonathan Majors' appearance in Loki and later in Ant-Man and the Quantum Realm sparked some excitement for the franchise. People were excited about its performance and the direction and where it could go. There were plans for a Kang the Conqueror movie that was supposed to maybe start filming later this year. The strike has obviously altered quite a few things. And they were initially planning for a 2024 release. All of this sort of happened. They were looking maybe further out, 2025. Well, now that is all in flux because they don't know what's happening. Their big franchise is in flux, and they're trying to figure out what to do.
Give the man his job and put him in the movie.
Well, allegedly,
Black dollars at work.
they're
Clearly.
considering a lot of things. There's some rewrites that have happened, right? They are considering hedging how long they can hold the movie, allegedly, and see how this plays out. But there are also more stories coming out. There's a story that was included today in a Variety piece about Marvel and Jonathan Majors that also dropped some information about him being let go from CAA. Some people thought that it happened because of the situation with the domestic violence situation. But allegedly, it's because Jonathan was mistreating the staff at CAA. CAA wouldn't confirm this, but this is the rumor. So more people saying that he is mistreating people. So one of the considerations from Marvel is the possibility of recasting as well, in addition to rewrites. They did it with Terrence Howard and Don Cheadle in Iron Man. So they are considering it. So,
With who? Michael B. Jordan?
No, because Michael B. Jordan was already in Marvel film. There are probably lots of people on the list. There were words like, for some things, this has been floated before. Damson Idris' name was mentioned. There's a couple of different ways that they could go. What do you think is going to happen?
I don't know what's going to happen, actually, because it's an interesting one. I think that because we are in a very interesting position in Hollywood, they don't want to, it's interesting because they want to be on their best behavior, but they're also thinking about their business. They don't want to make it look like they're actually being racist, or they don't want to be accused of that. They don't want to go down that trajectory, okay?
But they also don't want to look like they're protecting an abuser.
But they have afforded so many other abusers and so many other addicts they let Robert Downey Jr. Okay,
But addiction
Charlie
is different
Sheen.
from abuse.
Charlie Sheen.
But addiction is different from abuse.
He put hands on people too. So
right. But
award
here's the
him,
thing, here's
award
the thing.
Jonathan the same.
All of this,
the same as
the
the
examples
others,
that you're given were all pre this era.
which was
where
worse
things are
actually.
very right. Things were very different, and so there is a correction or an overcorrection of the process.
It was far worse because we just didn't see it. We heard in the things that we heard about those two in particular, we heard over the years, and then it got confirmed at like big blow up points, just like this here. It's the same thing. It's just a different, just different actor. That's all it is.
It's also a different time. I think context is important.
It's Hollywood.
You can't apply 2006 rules to 2023.
It's Hollywood weirdo crap going on. It's all the same, and all I'm saying is afford this young man the same pass, if you will, that you've awarded other people who have done far worse.
Pretty Brown Mimi agrees with you in the chat. She mentioned Woody Allen and Mel Gibson. Again, I'm aware of all those examples and all of the opportunities afforded, but I'm also aware that we are in a totally different time. The expectation as far as studios' involvement, what they stand behind, is much different than it was even 5-7 years ago.
Do they really stand behind this stuff? It's all for the moment. We all know studios have not really changed their position on any of this stuff. They're protecting people right now.
I mean, here's the thing, and they are protecting their interest and bottom line, but that's what people do in life. No matter what their reasoning is to some degree, they still have to put forth something that is going to make their shareholders as well as the public satisfied with their moves to a degree.
We all know that Hollywood loves a good scandal.
It does.
And this is just a part of it. Unfortunately, again, like I said last week, they always have to make an example out of somebody. It's just his turn.
Do you think he's being made an example of?
Sure. You know why? Here's why. Because
he was adored prior to this, seemingly.
I think he still is, in a sense.
So, but why do you feel like he needs to be made an example then?
They're trying to make him the example, but they're also trying not to make him the example. It's a really, really fine line, right? So they don't want to like knock this guy off his horse, but here's another story, like at a sideline angle coming at him. We've got he's just a walking target at this point, and of course people are going to come out the woodworks with all the stories now. But that's what Hollywood is made of. These actors, they get real brand new once they start feeling themselves after a couple movies and being on a few sets.
When we come forward, we'll have more trending topics and headlines. We'll also get into Real Housewife of New York, former Ramona Singer, and her alleged racist behavior. All of that and more. You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. News and sports on the other side.
It's hot. I ain't in right now, but please I'm at the beat, about floss and tossing, dipping and tripping, what I'm saying?
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. New York City Mayor Eric Adams says hate has no place in the city or on college campuses. While speaking to News 4 New York, Adams said the war in the Middle East is a teachable moment to identify the terrorist behavior of Hamas. Adams, who is black, adds it's important for children not to participate in some of the hateful rhetoric being spread, saying that's not what our city is. A 6-time convicted felon charged in a mass shooting that wounded 15 people at a Halloween party will remain in custody. Authorities say William Groves faces 15 counts of attempted murder and unlawful use of a weapon by a felon for the attack early Sunday in Chicago, Illinois. Groves was reportedly thrown out of a party at a business before returning and shooting into the crowd. The event space where the party was held will be closed under the city's summary closure ordinance. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
Need an accident attorney by your side? All you got to do is call the accident guys.
Injured in a car accident or at work? The accident guys can come to you almost anywhere, so you don't have to come to us. Se habla español.
We boldly go where no man has gone before.
Boldly taking talk radio where it has never gone before. New vistas, new voices, new views, new visions, new victories. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we're taking public media black. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions because we've got your black. Listen up. If you're one of the more than 100,000 California tenants who were rejected or delayed when applying for COVID rental assistance, you've got a second chance. Under the terms of a new settlement, California's Housing and Community Development Department agreed to audit its past denials. The program ended in March 2022, but the advocacy groups, Alliance of Californians for Community Empowerment, Policy Link, and Strategic Actions for a Just Economy sued the department. According to the coalition's analysis of state data, the department rejected nearly 30% of all applicants. Under the settlement, the department agreed to clear all renters in the pipeline within 6 months. The settlement applies to anyone who sought assistance from the state's Housing is Key program before April 1st, 2022, whose applications is pending or was denied after June 6, 2022. Tenants who have questions about the status of their application can call the hotline at 833-430-2122. That's 833-430-2122. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Your floors can go from clean to dirty fast. From juice spills, whoops, to muddy paw prints, to little sticky finger marks. Good thing your Swiffer WetJet works fast too. Swiffer WetJet easily cleans everyday messes as quick as they happen. The next mess is right around the corner. So grab your Swiffer WetJet and just spray, push, all clean.
Some people won't give you the real talk on drugs, but it's time we know the facts. Fentanyl is killing people. It's a powerful opioid, often made illegally and commonly mixed with illicit drugs. It can even be pressed into counterfeit pills that resemble prescription medications. Just 2 milligrams, about the size of a few grains of sand, can potentially be lethal. This isn't an ad to scare you, but it is an ad to make you think twice. Get the facts. Go to realdealonfentanyl.com. This message is brought to you by the Ad Council.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. So minivans, sedans, JDMs, roll out. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. And with eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. Boom, 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 boom.
Nissan has a car for every driver who wants more. More action. More fun. More guts. More head turns. More adventure. More electric. At Nissan, more is all we do.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. Curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
First of the month.
Wake up,
The first of the month, and I'll be smoking, choking, rolling, buzzing, sipping on 40 ounces again. Come, we got to never run. Stay buzzing all night, we ride. They like to wear night. I give up my partner to give me some yay, so double up to that's what you need. We got to get P.O.D. Thing for the green leaf. Give it up for the first show, but it lay low.
What was this, like 95, or was this on their first album? 94? 95, I was right there. Okay, 95.
I was
Man, almost 20 years. Listen, that's crazy. Shout out to Bone Thugs and Harmony. I hope, which member was it? Crazy. I hope Crazy is doing well and his health is improved. Want to send shouts out and prayers, continued prayers to him, because I know sometimes we get caught up in the moment and we send those thoughts and prayers and then we move on. But I hope his health is continuing to improve. Shout out to DBlack909 in the chat. He says, happy first of the month. Thanksgiving is around the corner. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Next week.
It's not next week. Don't say that.
I need to go get my ham from the Honey Baked store.
Honey baked ham. I remember it. When I used to eat pork, I remember that. It was amazing.
Yeah, it's just a slither for me. It's for everybody else.
No swine is how I stay fine.
Oh, is that the secret?
No. But I don't eat that. So Pretty Brown Mimi in the chat says Nate Parker was on the rise in reference to our Jonathan Majors topic, but then scandal, then poof, he wasn't. Very, very good point. I think that when you're talking about matters that involve domestic violence and sexual assault, there's a lot of room for gray area at times. And most aren't going to, should something reach the point of trial, most people aren't really going to know the details. Look how complicated the Megan Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez situation was.
They didn't have cameras in there, did they?
In the courtroom?
Yeah.
No, they had sketch artists.
Okay. Johnny Depp had cameras.
I believe so.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, it just depends on,
the level of
where, because different court jurisdictions, different judges have different rules, so they're allowed to do that. But I don't know. We're going to see what happens. We'll see how it all plays out. I mean, I do think we are also looking at too, and this is kind of outside of that, but I feel as though it's related, because we are kind of in a moment where we're receiving the woke backlash. We see companies reversing some of the steps that they had taken in 2020 during the racial reckoning. And now we're seeing a lot of DEI, diversity and inclusion executives were let go or moved on. Lots of hires that were made during that time period have been changed out. So, there's different tides that wash in different feelings surrounding certain things. So we'll have to see how this plays out. DBlack909 says, my favorite holiday food. He's talking about ham, food, family, and football.
No, he's not.
Absolutely. Yes, he is. Oh, no, he's not. You're right. He said, you gave up pork, so did I. No swine, and you'll stay fine. So see, he agrees with my sentiment. Yeah, I gave up pork a very long time ago, like decades.
You're not missing anything. It's not all that it's cracked up to be.
I mean, I had it. I tasted, I remember. That's why it was easy for me to get,
It's like me with chicken.
Yeah, that I'm never giving up. Never giving up chicken. I like it too much. So anyway, we mentioned Sexy Red and
Wait, what
Kaya.
is going on back there?
A Lakers game. Lakers Clippers.
Oh, okay.
It's been 12 losses in a row to the Clippers, but they don't got no chips. So
here we go with the Clippers.
I have said, I've discussed, I was a Clipper fan at one point in time. while I was a Lakers fan, but you know, it's just a period. So Kaya, known for the clapback.
Kaya, is this the one that Janet Jackson put in the television?
Yes.
Okay.
He's talking about the single that they had together.
The video.
Excited.
Yeah. She was mad about it.
Yeah, Kaya was mad. She wasn't included in the video. So she's clapping back at Sexy Red. And, you know, what happened was someone compared Kaya and said that she was kind of the mother to rappers like Sexy Red. She got really offended by that. And she was like, nope, I'm not on the internet licking a man's toes and getting, you know, dogged out and these things. Sexy Red clapped back. And then Kaya proceeded to do what she does and did one of her read downs on her thing. We can't play it because you couldn't hear anything because it would be beep, 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 beep. But
I saw a piece of it, and for a second I was humored and said, this child, she's crazy. And then I just said, wow, this is something to just sit up on the internet and just destroy somebody like this, and this is what you're known for.
I mean,
it's kind of like, get something else to do, because you're really not in a position to be judging anybody. And for the record, she did birth. She is the reason why we have things like this in society right now, because for what she did at her time, it was definitely tasteless. It was fun. We love the song, the one hit wonder, but it was the gateway to what we see right now.
I don't, disagree. I don't know if I would pin it per se, and I'm not saying that's what you're doing, but I wouldn't pin it on one person.
Yeah,
There's
for sure.
lots of entry roads into that. I think it was almost inevitable in some ways that we would end up there, just because I think part of it is a response to what male rappers were saying and very much objectifying women, making them disposable, just, find them, screw them, and flee them. That was an NWA song back in the day. Of course, screw was actually an F, like the other two. Just really, women didn't matter. So I think that it is inevitable when you show someone that you don't care, that they are irrelevant to you, that they are completely disposable, at some point they are going to respond in similar fashion. And so I think that, again, it's not blame on one side. We all participated in hip hop. We were partying and shaking our pants down to, all of it. I rocked Who You Callin' a B by Queen Latifah proudly, like, yep, who? But at the same time, we'd be talking about every other city we go.
Exactly.
That's the that's the dichotomy of hip hop. That is, the dichotomy of being a woman growing up in the hip hop era. Sometimes you don't know things are harmful for you, or you don't make the connection, or you do and you don't care. Whatever the reason, we are where we are. But I do think that you are right, that she is very much bitter that her career did not take off. And then furthermore, her second career as a commentator, she's seen others that she came up with maybe help bypass her. And it does, like you said, sound like sour grapes.
It's horrible.
Horrible. Well, on the other side, we are going to get into some more female rap conversation. There is the 1989 first woman signed to Def Jam Records, Nikki D. She also had some commentary about today's hip-hop scene and the way that women in rap are being presented at the current level. We'll get into that on the other side. You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Trending topics and the hottest happenings. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Los Angeles, black men are dying from preventable health causes and diseases, but you can be part of the solution. Join us Saturday, November 11th at the Michelle and Barack Obama Sports Complex next to Dorsey High for the African American Male Wellness 5K Walk and Run. Walk for your brother, walk for your father, walk for your son, walk for your uncle, walk for yourself. This is a free, family-friendly event for the entire community. We'll have free health screenings, vendors, kids' activities, and more. We'll see you at 8 a.m.
King C. Gillette knows you're dedicated to your barbershop routine, but how do you maintain the beard hair you already have? The King C. Gillette Beard Thickener helps to reduce patchiness and strengthens hair's resilience to breakage. Apply the King C. Gillette Beard Thickener daily to see a thicker and fuller beard in just 14 days. It's highly scented with King C. Gillette's signature scent. Just trim, wash, and soften with King C. Gillette.
Hey, son. How are you feeling?
I'm fine, Pops.
What's on your mind?
I can't explain it. Navigating without a compass, eyes waiting, started to wonder. Metamorphosis, the loss of who you thought you was.
When your kid can't find the language, help them find the lyrics. Listen to the Sound It Out album and get tips and tools to start a conversation at sounditout.together.org. Brought to you by Ad Council and Pivotal Ventures.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA reminds you that when we fight, we win, and we don't black down. LA Community Action Network, or LA CAN, was formed in 1999 when 25 residents of downtown LA came together and acknowledged the problems that existed in their community and made a commitment to do something about those problems, to stand together, organize, and become a force in the community that demands change. Civil rights and preventing the criminalization of poverty are their core projects. In addition, they take on women's rights, the human right to housing, and healthy food access. LA CAN also has projects focused on economic development, civic participation, voter engagement, and community media. While downtown LA remains their home base, with a particular emphasis on the Skid Row community, in 2007, they expanded their housing and healthy food access work into South Central Los Angeles. LA CAN believes that power for low-income people and people of color is achieved through a large, active, and well-informed member base that utilizes a multitude of methods to advance their messages and goals. If you'd like to join the Los Angeles Community Action Network and organize people to fight back against oppression, please visit cangress.org. That's cangress.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Now back to more captivating conversation on RSVP with Jill Munroe.
You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. So before I get into Nikki D's comments, I just want to prep y'all for a couple of conversations that we have coming up in the after hour. I just want to make sure that you guys are ready. One of them concerns Carl Thomas's, Trent, please, his child's mother, and her recent appearance on an Instagram dating hookup show. We're going to get into that. We're also going to get into a conversation that was started between Chad Ochocinco Johnson and Shannon Sharp about body count. Does body count matter? Yes.
Let me just ask this really quick. What is Shannon Sharp's obsession with body count?
Well,
this is the second time in this show that we've talked about his commentary on somebody's body count. Why is he obsessed with people and their body count?
Well, we're going to get into that. I'll let you hear his comments.
This is starting to get creepy with him.
Maybe, just wait and we'll see.
Okay.
And, yeah, I wanted to get you guys ready for that, as well as Joe Smith's ex-wife. And, of course, next hour we'll be talking about the Dodgers, United Airlines, and the racism lawsuit against them. So now, back onto this female rap stuff, right? So Nikki D, she was signed to Def Jam in 1989. She was the first female rapper signed there. I think her first single was Daddy's Little Girl. And it sampled, I don't remember, Susan Vega's Tom's Diner. So it was a minor hit, you know. It was rough for a female solo artist at that time. They were still trying to make their way. So recently she put out, what's the confusion?
What year was this?
When the single came out?
Yeah.
Probably came out in 90, but she was signed to Def Jam in 89.
What year did MC Lyte come out?
First signed to Def Jam. MC Lyte came out in 87.
But, yeah, But I'm just saying, like, difficult for a female rapper at the time. So I'm just thinking about MC Light.
MC Light was a star, right?
Yeah.
But not a superstar. Latifah,
Queen Latifah,
was probably the first big rap superstar,
Okay.
but definitely wasn't yet in '89.
Interesting.
Because The Brat was the first female rapper to go platinum. That didn't happen
To like
until
93?
93, 94.
Yeah, okay.
So it was, you know, again, I'm not saying that they weren't there. I'm not saying that they didn't get some popularity, but there wasn't, outside of Salt and
Who is this
Pepper.
Nikki D?
She's a rapper from New York.
I've never heard of this girl until right now.
Okay, well, I have. And she was the first female rapper signed to Def Jam.
How many albums did she have?
I don't recall.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people do.
What is the point?
I'm going somewhere with it, but this is your story and your show,
But
not
I'm
mine.
saying, well, where are you going?
Because I'm just like, it's in my mind. I was there for this, so I'm just thinking like all because I hung out with my aunts and my uncles and my cousins who were, you know, a couple of like 10 years older than me. So I'm just thinking of all the music that I heard. So I remember seeing these records from MC Light and JJ Fad. Okay, so in my mind as a kid, female rap is present. Like it might not be, you know, pinnacle, top peak, but it's present and it's there. So it's hard for me to kind of process this Nikki D character who, like, is kind of, in my mind, lost in the shuffle of all these other big names.
I mean, she could be, but again, Def Jam is an iconic label as far as hip hop comes. So her signing there was a huge deal because they were looking for someone that they felt could match the artist that they had on the label, that as far as real hip hop, not just, you know, what we would call an aesthetic now, you know? So she recently commented on the state of female rap right now. She saw not Sexy Red, sorry, apologies, Sexy Red. She saw a video from Ice Spice's performance over the weekend where she was dressed like Betty Boop. And in her costume, she had a really, really short red dress on. And you know, Ice Spice always says, I'm a baddie, showing my panties and things like that. But this dress was really short. It really looked like a bustier. And she seemed a little uncomfortable because she was constantly having to pull it down while she was performing. So Nikki recently posted the clip and captioned it with her thoughts about female rap. She said, "Come on, y'all. You mean to tell me this is true talent? The female genre of hip-hop today is the prostitution era. You can fight me." So she also says that, notice the only two times the crowd really reacts are doing the familiar munch line. Because, you know, you thought it was feeling you? That da-da-da munch. You don't know the song? Unfamiliar?
Who's Ice Spice?
Yeah. Okay, well.
Yeah, I know who she is, but I'm not listening to her record. I can't. It's once I saw the Beavis meme on her side by side, it was a wrap for me.
My goodness. So Nikki says the only time the crowd reacted was during the munch chorus and when she turns around to show her assets. She's one of the top female rappers out at the moment. Where's her show production, rehearsal, and for God's sake, please stop singing over those studio vocals. It's not a live show at that point. She said that Ice Spice's management should call her, "This girl got 5 minutes left and y'all gonna blow it." So, here's the thing, you know, this isn't something that we haven't heard said about the current state of rap and their performance and things of that nature. And we know the genre is changing. But is it unfair to say, I need you to give me more as far as at least performance?
Where's her performance? It's in an archive somewhere on YouTube that no one is Googling or looking up. So I don't even think that it's fair for her to.
So why is it not fair? Everyone has an opinion.
Everyone has an opinion, but when you are a failed rap artist that no one is thinking about from yesteryear, it looks a little bitter and it looks a little nasty and mean. Instead of uplifting, instead of her reinserting herself in a market that she clearly wants to be in, she could take this opportunity to teach this girl and maybe give these girls some lessons on how to present themselves.
Why do you assume that she wants to be in the market? Because she commented on it like everyone else does.
She's commenting on it, trying to make herself relevant. again.
How? She commented
Because no
on
one's
her
thinking
post.
about her.
But,
Who is
no
she?
one's thinking about anybody else's post that comments on this. Everybody that comments on everything
here's the
giving
thing.
their opinion.
Yes, and this is
she
true.
She is someone, she used to be a rapper, but why is she not entitled to her opinion
Because
anybody else is?
Because it looks a little weird. That's like me going off 30 years from now, okay, and no one's thinking about me, and all of a sudden I say, oh, this guy on this talk show, oh, blah, 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 blah. Ain't nobody thinking about me. And why did I bring this up? Who's asking me my opinion? I can just go off and enjoy my life in the sunset after I've done what I've done. And if I have a problem with the state of something that I've done before, I'm going to go on, or I'm going to send a message, or I'm going to try to help them from behind the scenes instead of just make a post and tear them down or say the obvious, because we know it's trash and we know it's horrible. We don't have to look at it and we don't have to watch it. We don't have to make a comment either.
We don't.
Yeah,
but
that's all
we
I'm saying.
We comment every day about stuff
all
that
the
we
time.
have no
all
reason
the
or business
time.
to.
But
so
guess what?
I'm not going to be
you know what I say
a
to that?
fan saying, or a person that is consuming the content that is of the culture,
and you know what I
giving
say
their
to
opinion like anybody else.
We are giving opinions because we are in a position to. People listen and watch.
And I think she's in a position to as a former rapper. You can have an opinion. It's not a requirement. You don't have to check a box to speak out. Now, is everything important? Not necessarily, but I would never say you have no cause to say anything because you failed at that. That's the same logic that Drake threw at Joe Budden.
That was a personal beef between those girls.
But there you go. And so Nicki's parting comments when someone, I guess, maybe said something similar was, to be clear, I'm addressing the business as a whole. This Ice Spice performance caught my attention. And the Lady of Rage jumped in and posted the Jack Nicholson meme from A Few Good Men saying, you can't handle the truth. Is Lady of Rage not entitled to speak up either?
But see, here's the thing. We know Lady of Rage, right? We rock rough and tough.
Because you don't know Nikki D doesn't mean
Can someone
that there
in the
is not an
comments
audience
please tell me that they know who Nikki D is?
Like, you have to step outside of your perspective. Like,
I'm trying to, but every time I'm trying to understand this girl, it just seems like it comes off as somebody who is angry about the direction of their career.
She was angry. She said nothing about her career. She spoke about the business.
It just comes off weird to me.
Okay.
That's
When we come forward, we're going to have more trending topics and headlines. We're going to get into this Dodgers story. And of course, you are free to call in if you like. 800-920-1580.
And please tell me who this Nikki D is. I want to know. I want to be educated.
And we'll get into more Nikki D, her backstory. All of that and more. You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. News and sports is on the other side.
Who is she?
Much to offer when I'm up deeps on 93. I'll open the clock lock for some dollars. So get it back again. I want a quarter round. Oh, most of my thugs just got the same. And we gonna run it all up the smoke. Tell them the trees, the hydro. We know what the cuts of the